Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing today? I'm your host, Richie T, also known as Richard T, and today's going to be awesome. So, instead of streaming Modern, which is the format I typically do, sorry for having a cough drop in my mouth. By the way, I've been sick for about a week now and just trying to kick it. But, yeah, so we're going to be bringing you some Legacy today. Now, you're probably wondering, why are you playing Legacy, Richie? Do you have an event coming up soon? And while, yes, I have an event coming up, I will not be the person playing Legacy for that event. There is a Team SCG in Richmond, which I'm excited to announce that I'll be going to. And I'll be teaming with a young Brandon Stuck and a very wise Aaron Miyoki. Aaron notably had just recently top 4'd a IQ in Modern, but as you guys know from him streaming for us every Tuesday, he's a big Legacy guy. So we all talked, and Aaron decided that he'll go on this trip with us and he'll play some Legacy. Now, while this isn't the deck he's going to play, I'm kind of known for being a Delver guy, and I really just want to try to freshen up a little bit on Legacy. So I decided I'd give a try the deck that I've kind of had my eye on a little bit and been wanting to give another look at in Legacy. Now, about probably a year ago now, when Deathrite Shaman originally got banned, I gave Temur Delver a try. I'm sorry for the pausing on the mic. If I ever do that, it's because I'm coughing. But, yeah, so I gave Temur Delver a try back then. Wasn't really super impressed. Just always felt like if you get behind with the deck, it really felt like there was no way to come back. And it just felt kind of unimpressive. But here I am, about a year later, and why am I giving the deck a try again? Well, some new cards from Modern Horizons I really feel like have spiced this deck up. So if we get into the deck, we can explain that. So your mana base is a typical Delver mana base. You got a bunch of fetches, your duels, and 3 Trop, 3 Volk, and 4 Wasteland. Notably, unlike the blue-red Delver that I'm known for playing a lot of, this deck doesn't contain any basics, which is something to be cautious of when you think you're in a Wasteland mirror. Maybe you hold a fetch longer than you typically would. But on top of that, we have our traditional blue cantrips in Ponder and Brainstorm. Some removal spells in 4 Lightning Bolts and a 1 of Dismember, as Tarmogoyf has been picking up in the meta. And then our counter spells in 4 Force, 4 Dares, 2 Spell Pierce, which are pretty common among just about any Delver deck now. But then we have a little extra counter or permission. We have a 1 of Spell Snare, which I think is a card that's very well positioned in Legacy right now. And it's always been a pet card of mine, as I just always feel like Spell Snare is a good get-you card. Especially with the new card that's been really spiking the Modern or the Legacy format. And then lastly, we have 3 Stifle. Stifle is the card that really Temur Delver is known for, and it's really interesting to see it as a 3 of. Some lists were on 4, but most lists were on 3, so I figured I'd give it a try. If I end up wanting one, I could see trimming a Spell Pierce for the 4th Stifle. Now, the way that we're going to win the game are off these 15 cards here. 4 Delver of Secrets. You know this card. I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards in Magic. Nimble Mongoose, which is one you don't see too often, is really known for this deck, and it's also recently been printed into Modern and tried to find a home there. To no success, but we'll see if it ever does. So Nimble Mongoose is 1 green for a 1/1 with Shroud, which is basically hexproof, except you also can't target it. And it has this ability called Threshold. Now, Threshold is that Nimble Mongoose gets +2/+2 as long as you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. So it's essentially 4 more copies of Delver that doesn't have flying, instead has a different relevant keyword, and is typically going to attack for 3. for 1 mana. Now, because we were on the full set of Goose, we're on Tarmogoyf instead of Hooting Mandrills. I've seen some people playing Hoots, but I feel Tarmogoyf is probably the better slot, as it doesn't contest your graveyard for Nimble Mongoose. Then we have 2 True Name Nemesis, which pretty common among Delver decks. You just really need some way to really push over in the end. And then the new card that I've been talking about pretty much this whole entire stream without mentioning its name yet, Wrenn 6. Now this is the new card from Modern Horizons. For a red and a green, you get a 2-mana Planeswalker that starts at 3 loyalty. Now the only other 2-mana Planeswalker we've seen is Tibalt. And unlike Tibalt, Wrenn 6 is actually very powerful. So Wrenn's +1 is you return up to 1 land from your hand to from your graveyard to your hand. Now the way that this can be powerful is 1, it lets you get your fetch lands back, which means you basically never miss a land drop. But with Wasteland, you can essentially strip mine your opponent once every turn. On top of that, Wrenn's -1 to deal 1 damage to any target is really big in Legacy. Between Delvers, Young Pyromancers, anything else, there's a lot of 1 toughness creatures, even Dark Confidants running around in the format, that Wrenn 6 is going to be very strong against and almost has been pushing out to a certain extent. And then Wrenn's ultimate is a -7 that you get an emblem with instants and sorcery spells you have in your graveyard have retrace. So essentially what that means is once I ult Wrenn, I can cast a spell for its mana cost, or I can cast a spell, but I also have to discard a land, but I can cast it from my graveyard. Kind of like Flashback, except the spell stays in your graveyard so you can keep doing it. Now a really interesting interaction with this is actually Daze. So with Daze, say you have a land in your hand, you can choose to cast Daze from your graveyard for its alternate cost of bidding a land, and then you return the land from your hand for Daze. So essentially, Daze was free for you. You just had to pick up a land is all. Much like Daze actually is. And with Wrenn, after you ultimate him, you can just keep using him to get lands back and keep dazing. Now, that's the deck. I'm going to be interested to see how Wrenn works in the main. And like I said, the reason why I'm giving this deck a second try. For the sideboard, we have a Pyroblast and a Red Blast, which are basically the same card in this deck. Just ways to deal with blue permanents. A Force of Negation as our 5th Force of Will for against those troublesome combo decks. A Hydroblast, which is something I haven't been a fan of in Delver for a while, but since the printing of Wrenn 6, I've kind of given into. It being an answer to Wrenn 6, also just being a counter to removal like Lightning Bolt is pretty huge. For more removal, we have 2 Ancient Grudges for artifacts, a Rough and Tumble for small creatures, and a Submerge, which is really in here for Merit Lage more than anything. Being able to bounce a Merit Lage, it can be pretty big, as well as just also bouncing any other troublesome creature. Putting it on top of the deck is basically like a pseudo Time Walk. Then we have some heavy hitters and 2 Surgicals for hitting those graveyard decks, as well as a Grafdigger's Cage. A Null Rod for stopping all the artifacts. 2 Winter Orbs for against the slower, more controlling decks, as you can really lock them out, making them not able to cast their spells, but you're still able to cast your threats. And then a Sylvan Library for being able to dig deeper. Now that you're more familiar with Temur Delver, let me hop over to my sponsor, momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com. They're the best place you can go for being able to buy any singles that you're going to need. Maybe you need some snow-covered swamps or islands for Pauper. Maybe you need Hogak for the GP before it gets banned. And maybe you need some Force of Negations for just about any format. Mom's Basement Games TCGPlayerPro.com has you covered. On top of that, if you're watching on YouTube in the future, thank you. Check down in that description box below for all the links I'm going to talk about. But try to tune in live on Twitch with us sometime. It's always a great time. Everybody watching live now on Twitch and all of you watching in the future on YouTube, thank you. I super appreciate it. Make sure to give us a like on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at MomsBasementMTG. And also, everybody on Twitch right now, make sure you check out our YouTube channel for the best standard, modern, legacy, vintage, pauper, and commander content. On top of that, I would super appreciate it if you gave me a follow on Twitter as well. My Twitter is @RichardTMTG. I talk Magic, memes, League of Legends, TFT, anything else you want to talk about, hit me up. Small spoiler, I might actually end up streaming some, hopefully this weekend. If not, I plan on streaming some on my own soon. But I'll make sure to tweet out, and also you'll be seeing it on all my profiles a lot more once I get that up and moving. On top of that, if you're looking for a little bit more from us, you can find us on Instagram @MomsBasementGames, or you can find me on Instagram @RichieT2196. Alright, but I think I've done enough talking. As I've said before, I'm sick, and you guys probably just want to see some magic. So how about we get into a lobby and try to hop into a game? So how's everybody doing today? I'm doing pretty well myself. Just got done working. Other than trying to kick this, whatever it is that's making me sick, I'm doing pretty well. Anybody got any plans for Friday? I'm hoping to be attending F&M and jamming some standard. As I've said before, I'm going to that team event with Brandon and... Ooh, this sounds really good. We're definitely going to keep. I'm going to that team event with Brandon and Aaron, and I will be playing standard. Not quite sure what I'm going to play. It's probably going to be Bant Scape Shift. I think that deck's really powerful and kind of busted, honestly. Uh-oh. So joke's on our opponent here. We actually have another land, and we can just play another Delver. Ooh, and we flip it to Lightning Bolt. Perfect. So here we're going to play our land, attack for 3, and then just really keep our opponent on the back foot by fetching a Volk and playing a Delver. Another Delver. Alright. So our opponent's wastelanded us twice, which is kind of unfortunate, but we have a really strong clock in play. We unfortunately can't flip to Tarmogoyf, which is probably just like the worst draw, but we're going to beat him for 4 here. Grove of the Burn Willows. That means they're probably a Punishing Fire deck, which is pretty scary for us. Okay, we flip Delver. Still no land, unfortunately, but we get to beat him for 6. And as you've seen, our opponent took 2 turns off, and we've really been able to pressure them. They're already down to 7, and they haven't cast any spells yet. And yeah, we win the game with no lands in play after they destroyed our 2 lands. That really shows the power of Delver, in my opinion. Alright, so we're against either lands or potentially 4-color loam here. If anybody in chat has any sideboarding opinions, feel free to give them to me. I'd love your help. As I said, I'm pretty common with Blue-Red Delver, but I'm not very knowledgeable with Temur. So I don't think we want this Dismember. Ancient Grudges might be too cute. Their only really hit is like Mox Diamond if they're playing them. Same with Norod. Winter Orb seems great here. Hydrogue Blast is probably not good. Pierce and Snare and Stifle seem great. These Hydra and Pyroblast seem kind of bad. And Cage for sure. Anybody else got any opinions in chat right now? I want this Submerge from Merit Lage. I'm not set on wanting the Force of Will effects. But I remember being told not to take out all of your counter magic in this deck. That you're supposed to trim a lot. This probably isn't a match we really... Well, Sylvan Library can help us dig for lands, but I don't really know that it's a match we really want to grind in. We probably just want to get our opponent dead. And then I could see not wanting the Force of Negation, trimming like a Daze, a Force of Will, and then probably just like a couple Lightning Bolts. What's everyone in chat? What's chat's opinion on this? I think I'm a fan. Leaves us with a lot of early threats. Leaves us with most of our cards we might want. I could see maybe it's right to go 2 and 2 on Force and Daze and just bring these bolts in and try to get them. But I remember being told to trim, and I'm also not a huge fan of bolt in this matchup either. So I think we're just going to try trimming a lot. Hopefully we can just do what we did last game and our opponent won't do a whole lot. So this hand's really close. We don't have a fetch land to combo with Ren, but we have Brainstorm, Stifle, and Daze, and Surgical. So I actually think I'm going to keep this hand, although I could definitely see this supposed to be a mulligan. Alright, our opponent discards Thespian Stage, plays another one. So probably means they're lands, not 4-color loam. Ooh. I really want to be able to Brainstorm into a land if we don't have to cast the spell, so I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. Ooh, Ghost Quarter. So we're going to go ahead and just stifle that. That means they probably are definitely lands if they're playing Ghost Quarter. So here we're gonna, our opponent has a mana floating, which stinks. I think we just let this happen. They get Wasteland, which is pretty, oh, I should have dazed it, because then they, okay, that was a really bad play on my end. If I would have dazed, we actually would have had our land in our hand, and they wouldn't have been able to wasteland us. So yeah, this does just look like typical lands. We did take out their way to win now, though, so they have to win off like this running 6 and punishing fire. I feel super stupid. I feel super dumb for not making that Daze play now, though. Yikes. Well, I guess we just play Wasteland and pass. Yeah, that Wasteland play would have been, or that Daze play would have been so good. Okay, that's a start. So, end of turn. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Volk and just cast Brainstorm. It's going to be really sad if I... Okay, ooh, we did it. So here... We don't really need the Wasteland because we have Ren. And I don't think the Bolt does much. So... Oh, we're going to draw one of these cards anyways. I think I want to just draw the Wasteland. And then play this Flooded Strand, get a Trap, and get Ren and 6 in play. And we'll take Ren and 6 up and just grab ourselves the Tropical Island for now. And then pass it back to our opponent. Alright, and the power of Ren and 6 was it literally just won us the game there. Even through what was probably a big misplay on my end. But, Yeah, you really got to see the power of this deck now. Game 1, we just used Delver, but Game 2, Run and 6 really took over. I want to do a quick shout out for a couple of people who... Oh, I'll have to do it in a little bit as we found ourselves our match. I want to shout out the people who I talked to about Temur Delver and who gave me some tips and tricks for the deck, which I super appreciate them doing. Yeah, this hand's great. We can hold up Stifle on 1 and then Run in 6. Looks like we're facing Goblins, which pinging with Run in 6 will be very good. So against Goblins, I might want a Lightning Bolt on 1. So we're just going to play this Polluted Delta and pass. I don't really think it's worth stifling this Vial trigger. Another Vial from them. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to just go to our turn, play the Trop, Run in 6, and... Do we actually? I think we actually play it cool for a turn, just because we don't want to get hit with a Lackey. Okay, so it looks like no Lackey here. Alright, and we're going to just stifle this Wasteland. Because we want our mana in play. So essentially Stifle was a 1-mana land destruction on them and a keep a land in play for us. Yep, Cavern Naming Goblin. Oh my lord, it's a Pile Driver, which is going to just get bolted here. Just really want to try to keep the board clean for this Run in 6. Delver's not bad. So we're going to go ahead and play Run. Tick Run up, grabbing this Polluted Delta. Play the Polluted Delta. Fetch up another Volk. And then just cast our Delver here, I think. Next turn we can Ponder and Goyf. Goblin Crater Maker. So our run's probably going to take 2 or 3 damage here, depending on if they have any Lords. We shall see. We're kind of removal light, but I would still think Goblins is a favorable matchup because of Run. Yep, there's the War Chief. So I think Run is so powerful that I'm actually going to just chump with Delver here. We can play Goyf next turn, which can really contest the ground. Force of Will, not the best draw here. So... I think we're going to just lead on Ponder. Not really interested in any of these. Wasteland's not bad. But we unfortunately have to get a Trop so we can play this Tarmogoyf. Then we play the big boy. And we get to ship it back to our opponent now. Hopefully they don't have ringleader. We'll know based off how they tick up this vial. Okay, they definitely have ringleader in hand, which is scary to say the least. It means if they attack all out, we're definitely going to lose our run in 6. Run in 6 not actually looking that good in this matchup right now. They've just had like a bunch of 2-2s. Opponents in the tank about what they want to do. Yep, they're going to start by ringleadering, I assume. Yep. So they had another ringleader and another crater maker. Legion War Boss, that's spicy. Well, they went really wide really fast. This is definitely a matchup where we're going to want the rough and tumble. I assume they can either attack just like this, or they can send in the other crater maker. Interesting. I think if they ship with this, they don't ship it at, yeah. I was going to say, there's really no reason to ship it at me. So we're going to go ahead and just block one of these crater makers, get it off the battlefield. Another land is not really what we were looking for here. I think we're going to start by wastelanding this Cavern of Souls, just to try to keep them off some mana. And then, unfortunately, we just have to pass. We really can't attack here. Goblin's traditionally known to be a pretty rough matchup for Delver, in my opinion. You have a lot of counter spells in their 4 Cavern of Soul deck. Get that ringleader on. Oh. So you're saying we're just dead? Dope. Well, I mean, we play to our outs, I guess. We're going to block Crater Maker, take 10. I don't really think there's anything we can draw, but it's worth a try. The Goose definitely does not get loose here. So we're down a game in what seems to be a pretty tough matchup, in my opinion. In the Goblin Boys. Submerge isn't very good. We don't want extra forces. Ancient Grudge doesn't seem that great here. Neither does... Norod might actually be fine. But I don't think we want Winter Orb. Hydroblast seems great. Surgicals aren't good. Pyroblasts don't do anything. Neither does Cage. Then we have 4 more cuts. Huh. Library can help dig us to like our Rough and Tumble, which is really the card we want in this matchup. And I think I like it more than just counter spells. So I think we're probably just going to take out 3 forces in this matchup. Or maybe even all 4. I know I said this is the deck where we trim, but I like having answers to their turn 1 Aether Vial. Maybe that's reason for an Ancient Grudge. Just to have like an extra answer. Really think we're lacking options in this matchup. What do you guys think, chat? I think we're definitely lacking out in this matchup. I think on the draw, maybe we'll trim a daze or two for Ancient Grudge. Or even just bring the forces back in. But I think we're going to try this for on the play. I think this hand's a little too risky against the Wasteland deck. We unfortunately don't have... If we had a second land for these Wrenn and 6s, I think I'd keep. But I think we just have to mulligan. So the difference from this hand and our last hand is we have the Brainstorm, which we can fire off at the end of our opponent's turn if we don't have to like Spell Pierce or Stifle a Vial. And then Library can hopefully dig us to another land if we get to stick it. So I think this hand's a keep as opposed to going to 5. Alright, our opponent keeps. We're going to keep this. And I think we're going to bottom this Stifle, as it seems like the weakest card in our hand. Hey, what's up, Celestine? We're going to play a Flooded Strand and pass. Always have the Cavern of Souls opponent. So... I think I'm going to get a little bit greedy here. And I'm actually going to fetch a Volk. And Brainstorm end of turn to try to find a land. Perfect. So I think I'm over this Spell Pierce. And we can just put... Actually, do I really want a third land? I don't think so. I think we're going to do it like this. And then instead of having to bolt here, we can fetch our Trop and actually stick a Tarmogoyf, which should block the ground game for quite a while for our opponent. What you got on 2? Chalice of the Void is brutal. Really wish I had Ancient Grudges now, that's for sure. I know Chalice is sometimes played in Goblins, but it's not always a guarantee. It's not always a Goblin T. And I think we're going to be pretty boned to that Chalice since we didn't board an Ancient Grudge. The Chief's back. Everybody get back to work. I would in fact like to use Sylvan Library. Ooh. So this is pretty good. I think we're going to put both of these on top. And just play out a second Tarmogoyf. Because 2 Goyfs really incentivizes our opponent to go wide. And then that Rough and Tumble will really clean up the board. Normally I think Chieftain's only like a 1 or a 2 of. So hopefully they don't draw another one. Our opponent seems to be in the tank here for a second. Trying to find the best goblin line. That's really unfortunate. We really wanted them to not have that. It's like the one thing I asked you not to have, opponent. So if they attack... man. What are we scared of them putting in? It's like Siege Gang is all, which we're not even super scared of. I think I just unfortunately have to take this hit and pray. I just don't think losing our Tarmogoyfs is a winning play. Okay. War Chief isn't that bad for us, so. Ponder Daves. So I think I'm actually gonna... oh man, I just don't know how we win this game. I guess we put both of these on top. And we then pitch our Mongoose and our Ponder into the graveyard for Tarmogoyf. And then we say go. Yep. I think we're just pretty dead. This matchup seems abysmal. Like, everybody who plays Goblins was telling me, like, oh, Goblins is unplayable because of Run and 6. I think this is showing exactly, like, the opposite. Like, Goblins is so good against the Delver decks, I don't think Run and 6 matters. Yeah, I'm not going to win if they make this attack. Yeah. I'm just going to concede it's over. So a quick 1-0 and a 1-1. Getting brutally beat by Goblins. And, yeah, it wasn't even particularly close. Ren and 6 didn't even seem like it'd be good in that matchup. Like, it's just a ping Lackey. But, like, Lackey didn't really do a whole lot there. I guess he couldn't have cast the Krenko if it didn't hit, but... I don't know. Maybe we're supposed to attack in. And hope that he blocks both of them. Really don't like 4-land Delver hands, especially on the play. I think we gotta mulligan this. If we had a Brainstorm, I think that might have been a keep. This hand is significantly better, though. And we can go ahead and put just a Daze on bottom. Misty Paths. Darn. Yep, you can go ahead and ponder, opponent. So now the interesting decision here is, do we wasteland or do we just play Tarmogoyf out? As Tarmogoyf will be unboltable. I'm kind of leaning towards the Goyf line. Yeah, I think that's the play. Hopefully we don't just get like wastelanded or anything. What did they do with their ponder? They chose to shuffle. Yeah, I think we just want to get a threat in play. We have Force and Daze in hand anyways. Seems like they're probably playing around Stifle anyways. Unfortunate that we didn't hold up the Stifle. But I feel like they just wanted to fetch then. We are definitely going to go ahead and daze that. It's like one of the best cards in that deck. They're playing Blue-Red Delver, a deck that's like really near and dear to my heart. So here, I think we're just going to take the turn to Wasteland. I know this means we can't play our other Tarmogoyf. But we have Force or Stifle for whichever ends up being more relevant. And we're the ones with the clock in play. And Goyf is actually really hard for Blue-Red Delver to deal with. Ooh, the Wasteland from them. Ooh. Luckily they made this play. Oh, wait. I was thinking I had Daze in hand still. Sorry about that. If they do go to Wasteland, else we can just Stifle the Wasteland. Yep, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Alright, so we've essentially destroyed 2 of their lands. And still have a 4-5 in play. So, because we're so ahead, I'm fine just holding this Brainstorm right now. I don't really see the need to cast it. Sure, a red source would be nice, but I think we're pretty chill. Here, I think I'm going to actually greed a little bit and cast this Brainstorm. Oh, okay. That's actually not that awful. I was a little worried at first. I think I'm going to stack it like this. So, kind of unfortunate we don't have Force of Will up now. But we can just bolt it this turn. So we're going to start by attacking our opponent. So this might seem weird, but I actually want my opponent to daze this if they have it. The reasoning is I just really want this lightning bolt to resolve. I'm not going to show them that we have bolt. I'm going to have them attempt to move to combat first. So that way maybe we can get some of their mana on their turn. Notably with this fetch land, the Goose will be loose next turn. And we actually currently have lethal in play with this fetch land. So we'll just float a red, let this resolve. Then we'll just try to bolt the Arcanist. Okay. So they forced this pitching True Name, which is fine. Now they can't attack because we have a 3/3. Interesting. So they're gonna sack the Arcanist in order to kill my Goyf. Which is gonna work out pretty badly for them considering we're just gonna play another Goyf next turn. Maybe they have like a Vapor Snag in hand, but again, I'm fine with that. We've just kind of been ahead this whole game. Which, like I said before, that's what Temur Delver really wants to do. Alright, and back to us. We're going to go ahead and goose our opponent real quick. Give him a goose egg. And then we're going to fetch a Volk and play a Tarmogoyf. Just put them to the test. They only have 2 cards in hand after all. And our opponent concedes. Alright, so we're against Blue-Red Delver, a deck near and dear to my heart. So I don't really like Rough and Tumble against them anymore unless we see Young Pyromancer. But a lot of lists have been off peasy lately. They don't play Forest, so Submerge isn't very good. I don't like Force of Negation. Dismember's fine. Ancient Grudge seems kind of meh. I like Library in the Delvermeres. I know some people don't. These artifacts seem pretty bad in the Delvermere. The Hydroblast and the Pyroblast seem very good. All of our counter spells. Some people like Surgical to try to take Delver decks off lands. But I think it's just a little too cute. I actually kind of like Grafdigger's Cage. As they have... Oh, well, no. Grafdigger stops our Red and 6, so never mind. And then on the draw, I'm not a big Daze fan, but I remember being told not to take out all the Dazes. So what does everyone in chat think we take out now? Maybe we just trim on each of these. What does everyone think of this? I think we just have a lot of good cards for the Delver matchup. Maybe Daze is better than Pierce. I could buy that for $1. Then yeah, I really think we want everything else. I'm really not a big Force of Will fan in the Delver Mirror, but I'm willing to give it a try in this deck, as it really doesn't have a lot of tools, it seems. So our turn 1 play is Brainstorm right now, but we have double True Name with a Daze and a Force, and this is probably the best card in the matchup. I'm not saying this is correct, but I'm going to keep and give it a try. I also just really don't like mulliganing in the Delver Mirrors, as they're like all resource. They're very variance dependent, and they all depend on the resources that you have. Okay, Stifle's a good one. We're going to still play the Flooded Strand, as I would prefer to not get Wastelanded, since our plan is to eventually play True Names. Ooh, baby, but we do get to get them here. We're just going to go ahead and stifle that. Man, that felt great. They chose not to play around it, so we got them. Unfortunately, we did lose our fetch for Trap, but, you know, that's fine. Or we can just be a professional. So here we're just going to play Tarn and pass. Just play it cool, calm, and collected. So this seems very desperate for them to do. So I'm actually going to hard cast the Daze on this. In the Delver Mirrors, unless you have to, you really don't want to Brainstorm without a land. So that just screams like I'm in danger. So they do have Pyromancer. Interesting. I'm actually fine letting this stick here, as we're just going to stick a True Name next turn and allow him to take over the game. Our opponent dazes. Then we'll force pitching Brainstorm. Alright, and it sticks. True Name you. Your turn, opponent. True Name is such a busted card in the fair matchups. Especially against Blue-Red, as, like, Blue-Red and Temur don't actually have an answer to a True Name once it's in play. Like, Grixis or Miracles does. So they're just kind of stuck with having to fight through their True Name Nemesis. We are probably going to have to ponder next turn, as I assume we're going to get Wastelanded. Our opponent shuffles with Ponder. Wonder if they brought in Surgical to try to get tricky. Not having any good attacks, the opponent chooses not to attack. And we're going to Ponder again. Okay, this is a very good pile. So, if we want to play the Delver this turn, we can't actually play the True Name next turn. Or we just can't flip Delver, which I think is fine. I think just having the extra body in play right now is worth it. And I think we're going to wait till we play into the next true name to attack. So we'll pass it to our opponent. Our opponent will probably choose the... Oh, no. Figured they'd choose to serve with the elementals. We will not flip our Delver. And we'll try to stick another true name. Please hardcast Daze. Oh, yeah. Now, hopefully they don't have another counter spawn. We just got to blow them out. Dang. And this is kind of the disadvantage of Daze on the draw. You're actually seeing we're like losing the Daze battles. So, again, I kind of just want to leave true name back. We'll flip Delver next turn. We'll eventually get out of this young Pyro lock. We will bring in Rough and Tumble next game, now that we know that they still play young Pyro. Alright. And we're just going to serve with the Delver here. And we'll pass it back again, as I don't want the Trop to be exposed to Wasteland. That is, in fact, your own true name, Nemesis opponent. So that's pretty scary from us. Like I said, we don't have an answer to their true name, just like they don't have an answer to ours. And they're currently pretty ahead in the race. So I think we actually have to brainstorm here and try to find something to help us be aggressive. Much like those. Now we just get to go wide. And I think we... serve. This leaves them dead to us flipping our Delver next turn. Drawing 2 threats was really good there off that brainstorm. Kind of the other upside to Blue-Red Delver, or not Blue-Red, Temur Delver, is it does play the cheapest threats out of any of the Delver decks. Our opponent seems to be trying to figure out what they can ponder into here. Double Wasteland does not get you out of this, opponent, so I'm pretty sure you're just dead. They would have needed a removal spell for one of our Delvers here. And we'll go ahead and just block one of these elementals. And then we will flip our Delver and proceed to kill our opponent. Alright, 2-1 with Temur Delver. Our only loss being to Goblins, which did not feel very particularly close in my opinion. Felt like we kind of got stomped. But, deck's feeling pretty good so far. Now, as I was saying, while I'm waiting for our queue to pop up, I'm going to shout out a couple people that really helped out me getting ready for today, as well as just giving me Temur Delver advice in general. So the first person I'm going to shout out is at Joe Valley, at Joe_Valley, also known as Josiah Valley. He recently got 9th place in a Legacy Challenge with Temur Delver. His name is Rafellos, if you're interested on his list. And he's a really good friend of mine. I teamed with him for an event. Josiah, I really love you, and I super appreciate all your help. And the last person I'm going to shout out before going to our next game is Robert James Benson, also known as at RobcasterMTG. So I super appreciate him. He actually talked to me on the phone for probably about a good 15 minutes, just giving me like a real rundown of Temur Delver, which was super helpful and super appreciative. And once again, I just wanted to shout both of you guys out and thank you. And they don't have a Twitter, but also Luke Blum was a really big help to me. He gave me his list, wrote me probably like a 2-paragraph mini article on Temur Delver on some sequencing, and also we discorded together for about 2 leagues of Temur Delver to try to prepare me for today. And I also think that this is a deck I might be playing in a Legacy Classic if we don't happen to day 2. So once again, shout outs to Luke Blum, Josiah Valley, and Rob Benson, as I super appreciate all the help all 3 of you gave me in preparing for today. I may be known for Blue Red Delver, but this is definitely a completely different beast. Like the professional I am, we'll blind flip our Delver. Kind of awkward to do it to Stifle. This Brainstorm means they're probably a combo deck. So we want to get our threats on the board ASAP. So we're going to attack for 3. Play this Flooded Strand and then actually play out the Goose. And hold up Stifle. Interesting. So it appears that they might actually just be Delver. I really want to keep my Delver in play. And I think our hand's actually pretty fine. So I'm just going to force this. And try to get them to commit some more resources into killing our Delver. Yeah. So this is totally fine. We just 3 for 3'd each other. But I still have a threat in play. Ooh. Wasteland is a solid... Oh. Undo. Get that Volk out of here. And then we'll start pecking down with this Goose. We're going to hold this Misty in hand as long as we can. Dread Horde. Alright. Really looking for a Brainstorm or something to help find a removal spell. A little late there on the days, but you know. So that would only be 5 cards. Yikes. So I suppose we just pass here. Again, this is one of those games where we kind of got behind. Maybe forcing to try to keep the Delver alive was a mistake, but I thought getting them to commit resources would be a good idea. Six. Man, really wish I would have played this fetch land now, as we could have actually just gotten them. We still can if we spell pierce or if we daze whatever spell they cast. So I am going to go ahead and try to stifle this. Or no, we can't. Yeah, that's only 6, unfortunately. So our opponent is going to get to Brainstorm here. We do have to take it as we can't get the Goose loose yet. Alright, we are going to go ahead and daze that, though. Running 6 is pretty good. We don't really want to play it here, though. Because playing it here would just get it attacked. So we're actually going to just play a second fetch land and pass. As now our opponent really can't attack with the Dread Horde. This is a true name? Ugh. Yikerinos. As I said, that card's kind of the mirror breaker. So I'm going to fetch once here to thin out our deck. But if we draw Brainstorm, we're going to want to cast it. Instead, we draw Force of Will. If the last card is Daze, like they got me. But I really want to start wastelanding them. I gotta hit the Volk. I'd like to hit the Wasteland so they can't just Wasteland us and potentially kill our Wren. But it wouldn't have mattered anyways, as you see here. We are ahead on the race if this goes at Wren in 6. Yep. Deal. We're actually not, now that I'm thinking about it, because of the Dread Horde. Man, this game's super unfortunate. Our opponent drew super well. Yep. And they wastelanded us off a red source. And now they're just going to start clocking us with its true name. And we can't really attack because our 3 damage is basically 4 with them having lightning bolts in the yard. Again, like I said, Delvermeres can be very swingy. Okay. We are going to play that out. Although I think we're almost dead in the water here. Yep, take another 3 to your boat. Alright. Play a Delver. That might change our math if we flip. No, we just die if we attack all out. But we can at least attack with a Delver. Yeah, I mean, as you see, True Name just takes over games. Haha. Oh, wow. The last card was blue card force. Sure. And we're dead. So yeah, kind of unfortunate game there, but I mean, you know, it's the Delvermere. It's whoever draws better. Again, I'm not 100% sure that they're on Young Pyromancer, as we didn't even see it that game. Submerge is pretty bad. Force of Negation is just a worse force. Ancient Grudge doesn't do anything. These artifacts seem kind of meh. Surgical doesn't seem very good. And neither does Cage. So now we're on the play, so I definitely want all the dazes. I can almost just see taking out force, but I remember being told not to do that, so maybe that's wrong. Maybe force is just better than Spell Pierce in this matchup. What's everyone in chat think about that? So we essentially board the same way that we boarded on the draw. Other than maybe we trim a daze and bring a force back in. But I think we just want all of our dazes. Which is really interesting, because daze on the draw is like the first card I cut in blue-red. Like, I'd rather have Force of Will or Spell Pierce in that deck. Which maybe is incorrect. Maybe I'm supposed to leave in daze over Spell Pierce. Who knows? Maybe I'll learn new things. Yeah. Hand's great. Plenty of hard to deal with threats, a cheap counter spell, and a Goyf, which is hard for them to deal with. Again, in the Delvermere, you can't really be too picky about the hands you keep, as it really comes down to a lot of resources. We're going to lead on Trop so we can hopefully save the Tarn for fetch land, or for a Brainstorm. If they want to just wasteland us on one here, that's fine. We'll just go ahead and grab another green source for a Mongoose. Or we might ponder. No, a wasteland is like the same thing no matter what color for us right now. So I think I just want to stick the other threat and be able to punish them more if they do decide to not, or to just wasteland us again. Alright, and our opponent chooses to do nothing. Library is a pretty sick draw. I almost kind of want to just get library down now. Can dig us to what we're looking for. Yeah, let's just go ahead and stick a library. Our opponent fetches here probably to play around Stifle is my guess. Again, I'm dazing this brainstorm all day. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't, but to me, end of turn brainstorm out of Delver just seems like desperation. Sure. I would love the library. Okay. These are both very good cards. And I think... I think I actually like taking 4 life here for one of them. Because they are just that powerful. Okay. Oh, I did that wrong. I meant to put the run in 6 on top, but I think we're chilling. So here we'll go Delver, Trop, run in 6. Choose not to shuffle. And I don't think we want to offer a trade, as I think if they flip their Delver, we can probably just race it. Yikes. No flip is good. That means our run in 6 gets to kill the Delver. So they do have Young Pyromancer. So we're going to start by attempting run in 6, as I think it's the more important card. Man, that really stinks. Maybe that's the reason we're supposed to lead on the Hydroblast. I think our opponent might have misclicked. Feel bad for our opponent. I think I'm fine offering the trade here now because I really want the run and 6 alive. So this feels like a free point of damage, and then we'll just block the elemental with the other Goose. No, they choose the trade. Alright. Alright, that's a pretty good card for them. Sorry, just having a little playful banter with our opponent. Oh, wow. So I think we're going to put both of these on top. Then play the big old Tarmogoyf and the Delver. And we can't really attack another true name, so we'll pass. Delver of our opponents, which is going to just die to our lightning bolt. Interesting if they choose to attack. Yeah. I would like the library. Not really interested in paying any life. Attack the opponent for 3, ponder. The red blast seems pretty good in case they go for another true name. And pass it to the opponent. I think I just want to bolt the opponent here. Try to kill him faster. So if we kill this, swing, they block, take 8, or they block, take 6. And I don't really think we're in danger of dying. But I think this speeds up our clock to next turn. versus being a turn behind. Or not a turn behind, but just giving them an extra turn. Alright, and we're going to game 3 against Blue-Red Delver. So, I think we want the rough and tumble now that we've seen Young Pyromancer. I think I'm still not a big fan of a lot of the same cards, but I always like just bringing everything back in. I kind of like this. We get to leave in some dazes, some forces, but we also get to bring in the card that we want. So I think this is what we're going to do. Library, I know Luke said he wasn't a fan of in the Delver Mirrors, but it seemed pretty good there. It just gives us so much more selection. Just really gives us a lot of options. Only thing I'm thinking about is if we want a third force over a third daze. What's everyone in chat's thoughts? Since we're on the draw. I actually really like Stifle for even like countering the opponent's wastelands. So I think we're going to go ahead and try this. Well, if we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, this hand would, or not Yu-Gi-Oh, but Hearthstone, this hand would be great. But we're not, so we're going to go ahead and mulligan. So this hand's also not great, but I don't really think we can mulligan it. So we're going to go ahead and keep and tuck one of these wastelands as they do play basics in their deck. That being said, they led Volk, so we're going to go ahead and just take the opportunity to strip mine them. Sure. So essentially, we didn't really get to start even because of that brainstorm. Okay. So here I think I'm in for trying to stick the Goose, as opposed to pondering. Alright, and the Goose sticks. So back to our opponent now. Ooh, young Peasy. Really don't think we can just pass or just library into the young Pyro and let him untap. So I think we're actually going to just dismember this young Pyromancer. And then let the Goose get in. Yep, that's what I was kind of expecting. And I was thinking that they would do a Dread Horde, so we're going to go ahead and Spell Snare. Sure. The reason I didn't float mana is our opponent would have just gone to a different phase. Maybe it's worth making them do, though. Alright, deck. Need a red source. Perfect. Don't really want 3 lands, so... And this gets the Goose active. And we get in there for 3. They do have a lot more cards in hand, though. Sure, go ahead and ponder, opponent. Next turn, we can go ahead and play Sylvan Library to try to catch back up. Also give us some good selection. It's really interesting being on the Temur side of this matchup after being on the blue-red side for so long. I was going to say so many years, but it's only been like a year. This is just a bolt on us? Sure. Be aggressive, opponent. Fiery Islet. Now that's interesting. Can I afford to take 7 here? Or can I afford to take 4, 2, 7 here is what I meant to say. Awkwardly, I don't think we really can, but I think I'm going to. Actually, no. We're going to put the Ponder on top because our plan is going to be to wasteland this Islet and then just stifle them trying to draw. Deal. It makes sense on their end as it's just like a 1-for-1 basically. Because the Pyroblast basically replaces itself. Alright, there's a Dread Horde from our opponent. Alright, and what do you find for us, library? So we can't just take 8 as much as I want to here. But I actually think it's pretty correct to take 4. Get in for 6. Bolt. And then Ponder. Do I want those or do I want to shuffle? I think we just want to shuffle. That's not a bad one. We need another land for it, though. All right, and we win. So we're on to 3-1 right now. This league's going pretty fast, and I'm actually enjoying this deck. I think, like I said, all those tips that people gave me, as well as just really how the format's been lining up lately. I think Temur Delver is just in a really good place. Some card selections people recommended me were fourth Tarmogoyf and a third Renin 6. But I really don't like the idea of going down under 27 cards that flip your Delver. In the main, at least. After sideboarding, it gets a little different because you're bringing in more powerful cards. Oh. GLHF to our opponent in our last round, and we have yet again another wonderful Temur Delver hand. So we got Delver with Days Backup, Goose, Goif, our opponent Mulligan, and then we have some interaction in Spell Snare and Spell Pierce. We are just going to lead on Delver, though. Interesting. Probably Miracles. Could potentially be a Delver deck as well. Could be blue-red. So Tarmogoyf is probably like the worst possible there. But, you know, we're chilling. Attack our opponent for 1. And then if it is Miracles, I really don't want to put too many threats out. Interesting. It's Sultai. Makes me wonder if they're playing the Nakatl then. We will flip to Force. Go to combat, attack for 3. And then now that we know, we're going to go ahead and play Mongoose as we have Days Backup. Yep, and we're just going to Daze that Baleful Strix. Sultai did get a huge upgrade with being able to play up to 8 Baleful Strix now. Baleful Strix was always one of their best threats, due to the fact that it replaces itself. Still no land, which is kind of awkward, but we're doing fine. Here I think I want to hold up the Spell Snare or Spell Pierce. So they know about this Force. I think we're just going to go ahead and Spell Pierce this. It's pretty free too. Ooh, Wasteland could cast us a Tarmogoyf, but they've been missing land drops, so I like the idea of taking them off mana. As we are ahead right now. Goose doesn't change the clock any, so we're just going to keep it as is. And yeah, now we're doing just some typical Delvering. Play this Volk. And alright, up a game against Sultai Snow. So they are a mid-range deck. Submerge I can potentially see. Definitely don't want the extra force. Ancient Grudge doesn't seem good. Library seems good. Norod doesn't. Winter Orb seems very good in this matchup. Hydroblast doesn't seem that good. Pierce and Snare seem good. Stifle seems pretty good. I think we want Bolts. Cage doesn't really seem worth it in my opinion. So, I don't really think they have anything we really want to submerge. They probably have Tarmogoyf. Rough and Tumble's only non-flyers, so I don't think we want that. And then we have 5 more cuts. I think we might do that for counter magic. I think because they actually play a lot of real lands. I know I was just talking about Stifle, but I think we can actually trim or take out Stifle in this matchup on the draw because they're going to play around it anyways. And I feel like, oh, that's 61. Added an extra. I think I like 3 and 3. Yeah. But yeah, as I was saying, they're going to be playing around Stifle anyways, and so they'll get to fetch before we get to have Stifle up. So I kind of like taking it out on the draw against a deck like this. To where against Delver, there's a lot of times you can use it. We want to merge against like the Baleful Strix deck. Talk to me in chat, Luke, because I'm definitely interested in why we would want it. I understand it's free, but it feels like unless we're hitting Tarmogoyf, this hand's great, by the way. Unless we're hitting Tarmogoyf, I really don't see... Oh, they're Nick Fit. Interesting. But, yeah, I don't really see what I'd want to submerge. Man, Explorer is super awkward because I don't actually want to kill that creature. Oh yeah, I didn't expect them to be Nick Fit. I was thinking they were just like some type of soul type pile. I actually don't really want to play a Renin 6 here. I might play it next turn, but I think I just want to hold up my spells. Yeah, like against Nick Fit, I don't really think I want Winter Orb. I definitely want my Stifles. And I think I probably want the Submerge. Ooh, the fetch land was pretty good because now we can get value off our run in 6. Sure. Yeah, like, there's, like, tons of interactions in this matchup for sure. Like I said, I wasn't expecting a veteran explorer when all I had seen was Baleful Strix, or not Baleful Strix, Ice Fang Coddle and Cabal Therapy. Maybe the therapy is supposed to give it away, but I doubt it. Like, therapy is just an insane discard spell in Legacy. Speak of the Devil. Definitely get our Spell Pierce off on that. Spell Pierce will definitely be out in next game, though. I don't think it's very good against Nick Fit. So, if they name Force, they name Force. I think we just kind of got to let this happen. I assume they just named Force of Will here. Well, our opponent's definitely not ghosting. Especially if they run out into our counter magic. Our opponent's playing a very interesting deck, that's for sure. Recruiter of the Guard, Nick Fit. Spicy. That's not what we wanted to draw. Wait. Oh my gosh. I'm dumb. I looked in my hand and seen 2 Volks and was just like, oh, I have another Volk in my deck. Yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty cool tech, I think. So realistically, we should have another land in play. Oh, it's a Lurin. Alright. Now all of their card choices make a lot more sense. So, we're not going to go ahead and fetch for no reason. We're going to just play a land and pass. It's just a Learn splashing white. It's like, well, it's Nick Fit a Learn, I guess. That's kind of cool, actually, because it does let you ramp into a Learn pretty fast. Hell yeah. That thing's gonna fuck us up, boys. Poor Ren getting beat up. Just because he's trying to gain us value. So yeah, we should have Force of Will held up next turn, but me being a dummy fetched even though I had all 3 Volks. Oh, it's back on us. Whoops. Goif is awkward. Alright. So I think the play is we ping them with Ren and 6. We play land. We play another Wrenn and 6. They hard cast a Force of Will. And then we play a Tarmogoyf. Oh, I could have cast Goyf with a Lurin, duh. Look, I'm not used to facing a Lurin, guys. I know what that card does, but apparently I don't know it enough to use it. Yeah, so we should have been able to counter this Ice Fang Coddle. Or that card for the matter. I don't think this Recruiter can fetch up the combo, right? Oh, it can, okay. Yeah, so I should have had Counter Magic up for the combo, but I screwed up by not casting the Goyf off it. My bad. Again, I haven't faced a Lurin in a long time. So, against a Lurin, Ancient Grudge isn't good. Don't really think we want our library. These don't seem very good. Hydroblast doesn't seem good. Surgical I don't think is good. Oddly enough, I don't think Stifle is great against them, but I think we need Stifle because of Veteran and Explorer. I don't think this card is all that worth it either. So we have 4 more cuts. We have 3 more cuts. What do you think our last 3 cards we take out should be, Luke? I'm thinking like Spell Pierce and a Force of Will. Leaves all of our good threats, a lot of our counter magic, our removal. How do you feel about this? Everyone else in chat too, how do you feel about our deck configuration for game 3 against what we now know is a Lurin, not Sultai Pile? Submerge gets a lot better against the Lurin. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and try this. And once again, we are not playing Hearthstone, so we can't keep this hand. This hand, however, is good. I think we bottom the Mongoose. What do you guys think? It's either the Mongoose or the Brainstorm, but the Brainstorm pitches to Force for us and also digs us with our fetch lands. I think Goose is just like our weakest card in this hand. I wonder what our opponent's thinking about here. Weird. So we're going to just go ahead and fetch a Volk and cast our Delver on one. And pass it back. Our opponent goes ahead and ponders. I'm fine with that. You can ponder all of the universe as you want. They choose to shuffle. I want to cast Wren here, so I'm not going to use Delver. Kind of unfortunate we don't flip, but, you know, it'd be like that. Then we get a Trop and play Wren in 6. And we pick back up a fetch land. So now Wren is going to get us extra lands and also fuel our brainstorms. While also being a removal spell and a solid threat on his own with his ultimate. Our opponent maybe just fetching around Stifle. Sure. If they name Force or Brainstorm, we just get to keep the other one. No flip again, which is kind of unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and grab us another Volk here, I think. Plus Wren, picking up the Polluted Delta again, and then attack them for 1. And ship it back. I think I was actually supposed to play the fetch, but not fetch. Since we have another fetch land we can grab. So that's what we're going to do here. Attack for 3. And let our opponent go. Alright, our opponent chooses to fetch. Oh, did we bring... We did bring back in Stifle, right? Yeah, good. Maybe it was worth brainstorming there then to try to hit a Stifle. I think we're actually going to do that now. Alright, and we're rewarded for playing smart. And we'll fetch at my opponent's end step, grabbing another Trop. Motobug. So here we're going to play our fetch plus our Wren. Our Wren's now in ult range, which is great. Attack for 3. And cast this other Delver. So that way we can hopefully just kill our opponent next turn. Really getting to see the power of Ren in 6 and exactly why he's brought this archetype back, and is also the reason why I wanted to give it a try again. So we have to let a learn resolve, but it'll be pretty unlikely they get to combo us based off our hand. Opponent's thinking about what they want to do here. Can't do anything about that one. So I think if I remember right, they have us. Because the way their chain works is they'll get all their recruiter of the guards, and then they can always just bounce a recruiter. But that might only work with the red one. That's awkward. We're going to bolt the recruiter because they don't have to name Spell Snare if they have a piece of the combo. I don't know. I'm just trying my best to interact with them. We got pretty unfortunate to draw 2 lands after shuffling with Brainstorm. The name Stifle. They get Eternal Witness. Allurn is wild once it actually lands in Allurn. It is actually really hard to stop the deck once it lands in Allurn. Interesting. So they're just dead, right? Do I know anything else in their hand? You know what if I just let this resolve and then stifle the trigger? I think we just brainstorm. Okay. So we put those two on top. Wait. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, I think we're fine. Alright. And we did it. We managed a 4-1, which gets us 5 chests, a qualifier point, 2 legacy points, and 120 play points. So a solid 4-1 with Temur Delver through some weird games. All in all, I'm really happy with the 75. My threats felt great. The interaction felt really good. 3 Stifle, I could see wanting a 4th, as I do always want that card, but I like the idea of having 2 Spell Pierce also. Yeah. I think the sideboard was great. We never ran into a matchup where we wanted Null Rod. I thought we wanted Winter Orb, but we didn't end up wanting it. Same with the graveyard cards. Yeah. All in all, I think this was a really solid 75. And I'm excited to keep trying Temur more. I actually really enjoyed playing this league. I'm glad I decided to do this. Just as much as I'd also enjoy if you guys go check out momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro as I take a drink. Check out Mom's Basement Games TCG Player Pro for anything you need, from your Snowlands to play our opponent's Alluring deck, Hogak to terrorize Modern, or Force of Negation if you want to get that bad boy in the sideboard of your Temur Delver deck in Legacy. If you're watching in the future and just seen that 4-1, thank you all for watching. Check down in that description box below for all the links that I'm going to talk about, but also try to watch us live on Twitch sometimes. On top of that, if you're watching live on Twitch right now, or watching on YouTube in the future, thank you, we super appreciate it. But also, try to give us a like on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at MomsBasementMTG. On top of that, everybody watching on Twitch live right now, thank you guys, I super appreciate it. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel for the best standard, modern, legacy, vintage, pauper, and commander content. On top of that, I would appreciate it if all of you guys gave me a like on Twitter, or a follow on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @RichardTMTG. I talk Magic, TFT, normal League of Legends, memes, anything else you guys want to talk about, hit me up. I'm also, as a sneak peek to you guys, I plan on setting up my own stream here shortly. And I plan on streaming everything, Magic, TFT, anything and everything I feel like streaming, basically. When I'm sitting down in front of my computer, I'll probably just decide to stream for everyone. So that's exciting. I can't wait to announce and hopefully go live for you guys in the near future. On top of that, though, if you can't get enough Mom's Basement content, you can always check out our Instagram at Mom's Basement Games. Or you can check out my personal Instagram at RichieT2196. With all that being said, though, guys, I'm going to bid you a very Temur Delver adieu.